All right, well, I think we can get started here. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate you guys joining me today. My name is Spencer. I'm the Chief Product Officer here at Cronometer.com. And yeah, I have a quick presentation for you guys, and then we're going to jump right into the demonstration, and hopefully we'll get to your questions as we move along. So just to get started, I want to go through what we're going to cover on the webinar today. We're going to get through this introduction, a little bit of housekeeping, and when we get to the screen-by-screen demo of each of the features, I really want to, we probably won't cover everything, but I want to cover the things that you guys are going to be spending the most time on, and also tell you a little bit about the gold features that are going to make your lives a lot easier in each of these areas. And so those would be setting up Cronometer, beyond just what happens when you create the account, logging food, which is where you're spending most of your effort every day in the app, creating custom foods and recipes, and how to use our data analysis tools to help you gain a little bit more insight into whatever it is you're trying to achieve your health and fitness goals. And so then after that, and I'll probably do this as we go along. I'll answer your questions as they pop up in the queue there. Okay. So yeah, housekeeping. So a couple guidelines on questions. We don't give nutrition advice or recommendations. You should talk to a healthcare professional to help you determine if there's anything specific that you need to do. But I won't be able to answer any of those questions here. For feature requests, now I'm not going to deal with any feature requests in the questions or anything like that. However, we always want to know what kind of features we can add that will make the app experience better for you. And after this webinar is over, so when I close the window or when you exit, you'll be taken to a brief survey that will give you some space to mention any of those types of feature requests. And I would really appreciate if you stick around and fill that out afterwards. So that's where feature requests go, but I won't deal with those on the webinar today. And also, you should have a questions button in your in the UI there. That's where you can submit your questions. And in addition, if you see a question that you are interested in having answered, you can vote for it. And what that'll do, as I go through the question queue, I'll see the ones with the most votes at the top. And that way I'll know which ones you guys want to see answered first. Okay. And if you have any follow-up questions after the webinar, you can contact us at support@cronometer.com. All right. And also, I'll put any replays up to the YouTube channel. I usually get it done by the end of the week, beginning of next. So anything you think you might have missed, you can go back to our YouTube channel and check that out. Okay. So I want to frame our discussion today around the question of, why Cronometer? Why are you guys using Cronometer to help achieve your health and fitness goals? And this basic answer is that, we have the highest quality, most accurate data of any tracking app out there. We track over 80 micronutrients, and we've really built a foundation around that nutritional data. You can lose weight by tracking macros, but you're not going to know if you're doing it in a healthy way unless you know that you're hitting your micronutrient targets every day. And to that end, we've built a suite of data analysis tools that allow you to see all that information over time and really make sense of it, so that you know that you're achieving your goals in the most optimal way. Okay. So, and because we're built on that foundation of nutritional data, you're going to find that Cronometer is customizable for almost any eating style. So from vegans to ketogenic diet, you're going to be able to use Cronometer to great effect. And finally, we're secure. We follow HIPAA guidelines. We are end-to-end encrypted. And we also believe that the users, own your own data. We don't share your data with any third party. And at any point, you could delete your account from our system, and that would remove all your data. So that's one of our principles here, and that's one of the things that we believe strongly. So not only does Cronometer have the individual app which you guys are using, but we also have a professional service as well. And it's built on the individual app that you guys are used to using, or have just started using in some cases. And some of these larger organizations use our professional version to do everything from run their nutrition program with their patients and even conduct academic and clinical research. And these are some of the organizations that trust us because our data is so accurate and comprehensive. Great. So I'm going to end this presentation here. And just scoot that out of the way. And now you're looking at our web app and our mobile app. So I'm going to demonstrate on the mobile app and on the web app in different spots here so that you guys can see, you know, some of the differences between the web and mobile and some of the features that that mobile has that web doesn't, and vice versa. And hopefully that'll give you a good idea of how to use each in different contexts. So I want to start with that first item on that earlier slide, which was setting up Cronometer. So we're going to go to settings here. So when you create your account, you are asked a couple of different questions: height, weight, age, some basic body details. But there's actually a lot more customization you can do for your goals after you've created your account. And I want to go through that now before we start logging food and doing some of the more effortful things. So on the web app, you're going to go to settings, and you're going to start by clicking on the profile tab. And this is where the body details you entered when you created your account, that's where these are. But we also have a couple other things that I want to touch on so you guys know a little bit about how to use those things. And on the mobile app, you're just going to tap the settings here. And you're going to see all those things in the profile section here under settings. Okay, right, you can see those there. So the first one I'm going to point out is the basal metabolic rate. This is just the, you know, when you're inactive, it's just the calories your body's burning to stay alive. So this is calculated by an equation that we have here, or you can create a custom amount and add that here just by selecting custom. We also have an activity level. Now, we get a lot of questions about this. The activity level, what that is it adds a portion of burned calories to your daily totals, okay? And so, you know, if you're, sorry about that, folks. That's always fun. All right. Yep. Okay, so back to what I was saying here. Yeah, we've got, I just lost my spot here. Yeah, so anyway, like I was saying, the activity level is important here because it does add to your burned calorie total, which could affect your daily caloric deficit. So the way I like to talk about it, there's basically three cases when you go to set this. At least you know I'm real. Well, I appreciate that. Anyway, so yeah, here we go. So there's three cases for setting activity levels. If you have a device, if you have a Fitbit or anything that tracks your steps or your daily kind of movements and everything like that, exercise, I would suggest that you set this to none. Because if you connect your device to Cronometer, we're going to import all that data. And that way we have a much more accurate reading according to the device about what your kind of daily activity level is. So you can rely on your device for that. Now, if you don't have a device and you kind of fall into two categories. One, you're logging exercise into the app, or two, you're not logging exercise. And so those are the two that I want to deal with. Most commonly, you don't have a device, but you do log your exercise into Cronometer. For that case, if you're logging your exercise separately, then I would say probably, depending on what your lifestyle is outside of your exercise, I would choose something that represents that. So for me, for example, I sit at the computer all day, and you know, I log my workouts and I work out pretty intensely, but outside of that, I can't say I'm super active outside, you know, other than like chasing my 2-year-old around every now and then. So I would put sedentary here, and that's just a little bump in your daily caloric burn based. And I don't, you know, I don't have a Fitbit, so or I don't wear one, and that would give you kind of a good estimate if you're logging exercise throughout the day. Now, if you have a more active lifestyle and you're exercising and you're logging exercise, then you might be able to bump that up to one of these other settings that give you more calories each day, more burned calories every day. Now, on the other hand, if you are not logging exercise, but you do exercise, or you have a really just active lifestyle, and you don't necessarily want to track that in Cronometer, I would choose one of these two higher settings here. And the reason for that is that if you have that extra, activity in your life that you're not tracking, you might be under eating for what you actually need. And so it really is a judgment call here, but I want to go through a couple little guidelines around, what makes sense in terms of that setting, because we do get a lot of questions about that. And if you just want to set a custom, you can set custom and type in a number here. Great. So current weight, that's pretty straightforward. You can update that here. Height, you can update that here. And then body fat. So we use body fat in a calculation for our ketogenic calculator, which I'll show you in just a second. You can update that here and enter a number. Otherwise, we'll calculate it for you based on your height and weight and other details you've entered here. So the next setup setting is going to be targets. So this screen has a number of important setting groups in here. The first, and probably the most important, is the macronutrients. So in Cronometer, we give you a number of different ways to track your carbohydrates and your macronutrients. And this is probably one of the important pieces for whatever program it is that you're following. So for example, the first option here is the total carbs, or sorry, the way you want to track carbohydrates. Now, we always track all the carbohydrates that you are eating. However, to highlight these things and to use as your kind of like your guidelines, you'll see this on the diary, you can choose to look at total carbs, that is starches, sugars, and fibers, or net carbs, that is minus starches and sugars minus fiber. And then you can also have a setting around counting sugar alcohols or not. Sugar alcohols are popular sweeteners in those low carb diets, like the ketogenic diet. And they affect people differently. They may or may not raise blood glucose in certain people. So we give you the option whether to count those to your net carb total. So I'll just go ahead and choose that. Now, the macro targets. This is how we determine what your how many calories you're getting from fat, protein, or carbs. And the default setting is macro ratios. I don't know if this is how it's this is the ratio that's set by default. I've fiddled with this account quite a bit, but as you can see here, you can set a ratio, and it will control the percentage of calories you're getting from that macro, right? And so you could change that to however much you like, whether you want some more carbs or what, and you'll see the percentages at the bottom there. And this is a dynamic calculation. So as your body changes, that is, you're logging a new weight, maybe you've lost 5 pounds in a couple of weeks. When you log that new weight, we're going to calculate new targets based on these ratios for you. The other setting that we have is called fixed values. This is a fixed value of fixed energy value and in calories, and three different and the three macronutrients in gram amounts. So you can set, and these won't change day to day. These are fixed, and this might be useful if you have like a strict diet that you need to follow, or you're looking to control things very tightly, but this is an option as well. And then the ketogenic calculator, this is how you would set up your ketogenic diet. And so we have a number of different settings. I'm just going to show you how we actually calculate your macros from this. And this is another dynamic calculation. The way we do it is we look at the kilograms of lean body mass that you have that make up your weight. So that would be your body fat percentage and your lean body mass. And so when you log your body fat percentage, we can calculate your lean body mass and come up with a protein amount that's right for you, based on the amount of grams of protein you want per kilogram. And in this case, we've got a 33% measure, so that amounts to about 59 grams of protein for this account. And if you've never logged your body fat percentage, you're not sure what it is, you haven't had it measured, we will calculate it based on your body details, but we do recommend for a more accurate protein count, you're going to want to get that. And then the next factor here is the amount of non-fiber carbohydrates that you have for a day. That's a fixed amount, so 20 in this case. And then, so you have a calories amount, some calorie amount from protein and carbs. The rest of that should come from fat. And that's how we do the math on determining how many calories you get from fat each day if you use this setting. Okay, and then there's a couple other little things here. you have a couple of settings that you can choose from. So there is moderate. You know, if you're not managing a medical condition with ketogenic diet, this might be a better setting for you. Or if you don't have to be that strict, relaxed, obviously, depending on your carb tolerance. And then you can set a custom amount as well. And these fields actually become editable. And then finally, you have include athletic bonus, which if you're logging exercise, if you switch this on, will allow you an extra gram of carb per 50 calories of exercise that you do, i.e. 50 calories burn, that is. So those are our macronutrient target setting. This is the one that's really important for you guys to understand and know how to set up for your eating style. The next group of settings here is nutrient targets. So this controls what nutrients are displayed in the diary and elsewhere in the app, so the nutrition reports and things like that. You can control what's visible, so you can turn these things on and off. And here you can also set custom values as well. So I can turn this on custom, and I can say, all right, what do I want? I can go 600, and then that will be reflected in the targets in the diary screen. Now, if I would recommend talking to a healthcare professional if you want to change these targets, but if you know what's right for you, you can do that here. And then finally, we have the weight goal. Now, the weight goal will help control your required caloric deficit each week. And so what you can do here is you can set a current weight and a target weight, and you can choose how quickly you would like to lose that weight. So determining what kind of caloric deficit you need to hit each day. Now, I will say anything with a weight loss goal of 1.5 to 2 pounds a week is pretty aggressive. And if you're going to pursue that, I would highly recommend talking to a healthcare professional in that case, so you know you're doing it right. Okay. And then if you have this set, you can actually see how quickly you'll hit your weight goal. Let's just change that to a little more realistic number. So yeah, you can get a sense of how long it would take depending on how closely you stick to the program. So I'm going to pause here because this is the setup that I wanted to show you guys. I'm just going to check the questions real quick to see. Oh yeah, I will show you guys on the phone. Very good. Thank you for telling me, reminding me. So to do the same kind of thing that we saw here, so in the profile section that we saw, this is where that is on the settings. It's just on the main screen. Then if you wanted to go to macronutrient targets, here is that stuff right here. You can actually see the ketogenic calculator and the carb setting. I will go to macro ratios, and you can choose whichever one you want to look at. Okay. And then below that, you have nutrient targets. So you can look at all your all the individual nutrients, and for the highlighted nutrient targets that appear in the diary, you'll see that in a minute. You can set those here. And finally, the weight goal is just below that. Cool? Okay. So now let's go back to, so I'm going to look through the questions queue real quick. How do you track water? We will get to that. Creating recipes, custom reports. Yes, so glucose or ketones and glucose are manually entered. We do, I think we sync with a couple of breath analyzers. And I'll show you where to hook up any devices that you have there. But if you're doing blood ketones, you'd have to enter those manually. Fasting option, we can cover that. Consecutive days, right? I will address that. Okay. I set my carbs to 20 per day, but the logging shows 23. What's happening? Well, if you've eaten more than 20 carbohydrates a day, we will show that, though your target will always be that 20. So Shelly, I think I answered what should the keto macronutrient ratio be. I think I answered that in terms of how to set it up. If you have any other questions, feel free to type that out, and I can hopefully get to it. So under rigorous settings in the ketogenic diet, you can't actually change it. It's fixed. So if you want to change any of your settings, I would use the custom version. And if you still want it, you can set it be as strict there as you want. So yes, okay. So I'm seeing a lot of questions about logging. So let's jump right to it. So here is the diary page. Okay. So here we have our food log. Down below, we have the calorie summary, which is showing, what my current caloric deficit is, how much I've consumed, and how much I've burned. And it'll give you a little breakdown about, what you're doing to burn those calories. Your macronutrient breakdown. If you mouse over these things, you can see the contributors, as well as the carbohydrates and things like that. Okay. So down below, you're going to see all the micronutrients and whether or not you're hitting the targets in the gauges here. And you can see those contributors to each micronutrient just by mousing over. And at the very bottom here, this is a gold feature. We actually show you guys relevant micronutrient ratios that are relevant to your health. So the most obvious one being the omega-6 to 3 ratio. Okay. Now, logging food. So we have a number of ways to actually log your food, and we try to make it as easy as possible. And so I'm going to go through the web first, and then I'll show you on the mobile app. And honestly, I think the mobile app is a little bit better for logging your food. You can do it anywhere. You're not going to drag your laptop or desktop around to your kitchen, so it can be pretty handy. So first, we'll go to all here. So we have a whole bunch of tabs here that will allow you to narrow down your search pretty easily. You can select any of these items here. Now, what's important to note here is that there is, when you look at the source that you're, the source that you're getting your data from, this entry has one of the red lab icons, which means it's a well-tested entry with a lot of data, a lot of nutritional data. And you can see there's a couple different, these are the database names at the end here. And you can see that this one has 76 listed nutrients. That's how much data that we have for this entry, which is great. And so if we were to go to a branded entry, Trader Joe's rolled oats. So this one only has 17 listed nutrients, and you can see that this is a food from our database that we've curated. But you'll notice that we also know our database can tell you if there's a better entry for that same food. And oftentimes this happens with brands. You hop on, you log your favorite brand name food, but sometimes there's a whole food that we have much better data for, and that will appear down here. If that is the case, you can just click on it, and now you can see I have a much better data set for the food that I'm eating. Okay. Yeah, so then on top of that, what I can do is you can click the star here to set a favorite, and your favorites will show up in a little bit. Yeah. So when you you can mark a food as a favorite, so you can just quickly access all your favorite foods. It gets pretty easy. And then the Commons Food tab, this is where all the foods with a lot of different, this is where the foods with really good data are. And so if you're looking for if you want to make sure you're getting the best data out of our app, this is the tab to search in by default. So always come here. Supplements, this is where popular dietary supplements, things that are flagged as supplements in our database. We've got brands. We have some pretty good coverage on brands and restaurant foods here. Clearly some of our high quality databases do have that information in them. And then the custom tab here is where you're going to see any food that you have created. And it'll show up in the search as well if you're typing in all or anything like that. And you're also going to see any foods that have been shared by anyone to you. So we have a gold feature that allows gold users to share recipes between each other. You can invite each other as friends, and once you accept a friend request, you actually get to see all the custom foods and recipes that each other have created. So it's a great way to share between families and things like that. And that does require a gold account. Now, on the mobile app, on the other hand, we're going to go to add food. Now you'll notice also we have an additional feature on the mobile app, and that's scan barcode. So this is great because you can actually scan barcodes of foods that you bought in the store, and if we have it in our database, it will appear on just as any other entry that you can log. But if we don't have it in our database, what you can actually do, it'll prompt you to take a picture of the front of the box or whatever, and then the actual nutrition label as well. And what we do is the app will read the information. We will actually read the information from the nutrition label and fill in that information in the app. So you don't actually have to type all that stuff out, which can be such a pain in the butt. So I would highly recommend, if you have a food that you like that's store-bought that has a barcode, definitely use the mobile app to scan the nutrition label and get all that information in there without having to log it. So that's one option for you guys. But I'm going to show you another thing that's pretty cool on the mobile app. So here is your search. You can access the filters by tapping this little icon up in the top here, in the top right. Now we have a couple things going on here. In addition to the filters that I showed you before, not only can you still filter by favorites, common, supplements, etc., you can search by database as well. So those high quality databases that I was telling you about. But in addition, you can also change how you sort your foods as well. Now this list is populated by the foods that I log the most, and I've sorted them by the most frequent. So the foods that I log the most will show up here. Now if I did most recent, see what happens. Yeah, you can see that that list changed a bit, and so I'm not sure if it changed, but but what's going to happen is the foods that I've logged most recently on this account will show up in that order. So so magnesium citrate, whenever the last time I logged that, it was probably the last week. So it's most frequent. Let's see, it does, yeah. So you can see that that'll change up a bit. The other thing that's really cool about our mobile app is you can enable multi-add. So by enabling multi-add, you now get these little checkboxes next to each of these foods. Now, I can quickly check all of these foods. I can add them to my diary instantly. And so you can see they just appeared here in the diary. And that makes things way easier. If you have a set of favorite foods or something you're eating every day, you can just log all that stuff really quickly. And then just because we're here, I want to make sure I don't dirty up my data. You can swipe left to delete an entry. You can also tap on this, the three-dot menu up here, and you can multi-select. So you can tap multi-select. Now I get those same kinds of boxes. I can select all of these. I'll tap that three-dot menu again, and now I have a couple options here. First, I can create a recipe from the selected items. This is a gold feature. It's just convenience. Let's say you had a great day of eating or a great breakfast and you really want to make that again. All you have to do is highlight those items, and now you can create a recipe from the items you highlighted. We'll get into that in a little more detail in a bit. And then you can copy these items and just paste them in another day if you want. You can also view the nutrition summary for these items as well. And you can see what the nutrients look like for those items specifically. And then finally, which is what I'm going to do, just delete them. Okay. And so that's a bit about logging on the mobile app as well. So I'm going to pause here and just check the questions queue real quick. Creating recipes, we will get there. Ah, yes, adding biometrics. Great question. So I'm going to go through that in general, and then I'll see if, yeah, I'll go through that. So adding biometrics on the diary page, what you can do is you can click add biometrics. So someone was asking about add exercise. You can do that here as well. Yeah. You can add exercise here just by clicking add exercise. And it's just a matter of searching what you want to do. So you can do, I've actually already logged some here. Or if you have a custom exercise that we don't have in our database, it's as simple as just naming it and then putting in how long it was and the calories burned during that activity. It's pretty straightforward. So adding a biometric, on the other hand, click Add Biometric, and you can log any number, any biometric that we currently support. And in addition, if you're a gold user, you can actually come in here and create custom biometrics. Now, I already have created the Dr. Boz ratio, which is what one of you guys are asking about. But the way you would do that is you click on this green plus button. And again, you need a gold account to do this, but you click the plus button, create the name here, okay, and enter the unit of measurement. So, you know, if you're tracking symptoms, maybe it's a scale, 1 to 5. If it's a specific blood level, maybe you're tracking your A1C, you could enter in the whatever the unit is for that one. I'm not totally sure myself. And then you would create it, and it would show up in that list. I'm not actually going to do that. Okay. But you can see I have custom biometrics that show up down here. Cool. And then you could just pick it from the list, log it, and it will appear in your wherever you want it to appear. So the other thing to note, just in terms of gold features, so you'll notice that all this data here is actually timestamped. So we keep track of the time that you actually log this stuff. And so if you're tracking symptoms, or if you're tracking anything in particular that needs that level of detail, you can include it here. And then once we get to the charts in the data analysis section, you're going to be able to see that data mapped out according to the time it was logged, which is really cool. Okay, so, oh yeah, so I'm a gold member. So that custom biometric will show up only for me. So because I created it for me, it's personal. So it's not going to show up for every single account there. So you would have to just create it for yourself. Okay. Adding recipes and custom food, we will get that. So how do you track water? Well, so one of the, in our general section down here, water shows up, and it's part of, you know, I can go ahead and actually just log water. Tap water, up, and then my total update down here. But you can see how much water you're drinking here. Yes, you can actually change the time something was logged just by clicking on it. And then you can change AM, PM, or you can delete that if you don't want that to have a time associated with it. Pretty easy. And likewise, when you add a food, you know, it may not be actually 4:32 when you ate it. So you can click on that here, and you can change that here. Likewise, on the app, in here, and you have your time field just below the serving size. Right. And just to note that the custom biometrics feature is not on the mobile app yet. So you have to come on the web app to create your custom biometrics. You can still log biometrics and exercise on the app, and your custom biometrics will show up here. As you can see, you just can't create them on the mobile app at the moment. That's something that we're planning on adding in relatively soon. Okay, let's see. So, and just to, I see a couple questions in the chat about the Dr. Boz ratio. We do not calculate it. You can create the custom biometric to track it, but you'd have to enter that in every day. So we wouldn't, and I can't remember, I think it's like blood glucose, it's blood glucose and blood ketones, but I'm not totally sure what the calculation is. So you'd have to enter that in manually every day. And that is correct, Cindy. You have to, when you're sharing a recipe, you have to approve the friend request. And you'll see that when you log in. We send you a notification when you log into your account. Okay, so I'm just going to scan this real quick. Custom reports, we'll do ketones and glucose are entered in manually. That's correct. So if you have the ketogenic calculator settings set in your macro targets, you get this little ketogenic biomarkers here. If you have a blood glucose reading, you click on that, enter it, ketone reading, and you can choose which one it is, how you measured it, and you can enter that here. Tracking supplements, Carol, I mean, it's just a matter of coming in here to the supplements section, or if you want to add your favorite supplement, you can add that as a custom food. And these, and we'll get to tagging foods as supplements in a second when we get to custom foods. But that's how you would log a supplement. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Oh yeah, so creating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Oh, okay, yeah, so copying and pasting. So this will be useful. So let's say I had a great breakfast here, okay? I can hold down shift and click all of these items. And you saw me select multiple items on the mobile app, so I won't go back over that. But I can right click that and I can copy selected items. I can go to the next day and I know I'm gonna eat that for breakfast again. I'm gonna paste that. Great, right? So so in this case, we have a couple other options as well. Let's say I had a great day of eating yesterday. And I know I'm gonna log these biometrics again, like I do every day. I can copy the current day. Oops, sorry. I can go forward and I can hit paste, and then I get my whole day from yesterday pasted into the current day. Now, I can then go and change all the amounts or what have you based on what went on during the day. Now, on the other hand, let's say, so we also have this option, copy previous day. So copy current day is great for going back in time, maybe a couple days to grab a good day of eating as a template and putting it in the current day. But copy previous day, with a single click, I can just grab everything from the previous day. So if I know I'm gonna eat the same thing, I just click copy previous day and then everything gets pasted into the current day. And all of those options are available on the mobile app in this 3-dot menu up in the top right. And you can see, you can mark the day as complete. Actually, I'll explain that in a second. Or daily nutrition. Oh, actually, yeah. So on the mobile app, you can see the daily nutrition report, all the gauges and the macronutrient target summary stuff that you see at the bottom of the diary page, you can see on the daily report. And then you have your copy current day, copy previous, clear all amounts, or and delete all amounts, or delete everything from a day. Okay. So let's see. Okay. Oh yeah, so group names. So again, same menu on the web in diary settings, right? If I go to diary settings, I'm going to be kicked over here to my settings menu and display. Now, diary groups is a gold feature. So if you want to turn it on, it requires a gold account. But once it is, you can basically, we have up to 8 groups you can enable and customize. So I'll just do 2 of these, and you can change the name if you want. Now, if we go back to the diary, you can see that those changes are now here. I have group 6 and 7. So that's how you would do that. And likewise, that is in settings tab, diary settings in the mobile app. Cool. You have a couple other options here to let's go back to that. You have a couple other options here about choosing which. So if you have devices that are importing data, you can choose which group they go into, or that data gets imported. And you can choose to show subtotals in the diary. And what that means, I lost my mobile app there. Pardon me, just get that back. Okay, sorry about that. And that will show you, so if I go to diary here, you'll see the total calories so if I eat breakfast, I can see how many calories were in breakfast. And what's interesting is if I highlight that, I can now see in this area down here, all the nutrition from that meal specifically. And the same goes if I click a single thing here, or if I select multiple things, I can see all that information just for the selected items down here. Okay. Bottom. You can move the group names around, but it would involve, so what would happen is you need to you can't actually drag and drop them. No, that does not work. You'd have to actually rename it in order in the UI in the settings. Let's see. So we have a iPad mobile app. It is pretty much the same. I don't think we do a custom UI for the iPad, so I would highly recommend using it on a phone. The meal specifications, yes, they are part of the gold account. Yes, the coffee question. Yeah, so coffee does have carbs. The granules and the silt and the kind of that grit that's in the coffee that is technically a fiber, and so we show that as fiber. Now that fiber may not be utilized as energy in your body, but it is fiber, and so we count it as a fiber carbohydrate. And you'll see actually if I do highlight this is a lot of coffee. But you can see here that there are 2.8 grams of carbs, and all of that is fiber. So. Yes, so I would appreciate it. All right, so if you can, please answer your questions, ask your questions in the Q&A section, just because the chat moves really fast and I'm not going to be able to scroll back to get all of those efficiently. So just looking at the time, I want to jump over to creating custom foods and recipes. I know there's a couple questions about that. So I want to show you how to use the custom foods and recipes to make logging food really, really easy on you guys. I'm talking just a couple of clicks. So we'll start with custom foods. Now, like I said, if you have something with a barcode, I would highly, highly recommend just using the mobile app to log that, because it'll do it all automatically. But if you have a food that you know the nutrition for, what you can do is you can add a new food, and you can create you can enter the name here, and you can select a category. We have a number of different categories. Just helps the search algorithm, figure out where to put it. And you can also flag it as any number of these with these tags down here. You can enter some notes. Maybe it's a cooking instruction. But custom foods actually are for individual things. I'll show you recipes and ingredients in a second. But then what you would do, so you enter in a serving size, a gram amount, however much it weighs, or maybe it's not. Maybe there's not a weight associated. Maybe it's just like 3 tablets if it's a supplement. So what happens then is you're actually going in here and you're adding things in manually. So you come in here, it's pretty high. You're coming in here and you're typing this stuff in manually. Now, again, I don't recommend doing this if it has a barcode. Use the mobile app. But this is how you would create a custom food that you may not find in our database. Okay? But really, probably where you're going to spend more of your time is on custom recipes. And this is where you can really make your life a lot easier in terms of logging food. So you just click save there, and you'd be able to show up in your list. So on the custom recipes, what you're going to do here, so I'm going to create a recipe. So same deal, add a title, you can flag it, you can choose a category, I'll do that one. And cooking instructions, great for the notes section. Barcodes, if it has one, you can add it here, but again, mobile app if you have a barcode. Now, serving sizes, you can add as many serving sizes as you want. So if I'm baking cookies, maybe it makes, so 1 serving might be 3 cookies, and it makes, let's say 5 servings, right? Oops. So that comes out to about 15 cookies. Great. Now, ingredients is just like searching food. You're coming in here and you might find avocado cookies. I've never tried that. And you just add whatever you need for your food. Salted, so I'm just going to stop there. But what you can see below, 3 cookies, it'll tell you what the nutrition is for a specific serving size. With however many you created, we also do in grams and the total for the full recipe. Now I can save that and you get a sense of how much of each of the macros. when I save that, let's call that changes. Now it shows up in my list. I can then log it from the custom tab or from the all tab. I just got to search cookies. And that's creating a recipe. Now, what's really cool is that you can actually, oh, and I'll show you how to do that on the mobile app just before I jump into the more complicated stuff. Let's go to the foods tab. So pretty straightforward up top here. I can create a food. And you'll see this if you scan a food, you're going to go through this screen as well, although all these details here are going to be filled in for you, which is great. But you could name the food, create the serving sizes and the weight. You'd add the, you'd have the basic nutrition facts, any advanced nutrition and the category and any notes. And then you just go on to see the nutrition information and save it. Discard. And create recipe is very similar. Create the name, you add the ingredients. Next. And then you create your serving sizes and your notes and your category. And then you can see the nutrition information, and then you can actually save the recipe. Now, here's what's cool about the recipe editor. You can actually, oops, sorry about that. You can actually create meal plans using the custom recipes function. So I'm going to go over here to breakfast one. So I'm going to show you guys what I created. Now, these are other items. So this is actually a custom recipe, the spinach, egg, and cheese. And I've included basically what I eat for breakfast: the coffee from grounds, the half and half that I put in the coffee, and some melons that I like to have with my breakfast. And so now I've saved this as breakfast one, right? Then I can go and I can create a meal plan. So now I've done this with lunch and dinner and even some snacks for the day. I can then create a new, I could just hit add recipe, create a meal plan, and then I would include breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the recipe. And then, so I've saved this. Now I have my meal plan day one. If I jump back to the diary, I'll go to that day in the future here. All I have to do, just go to custom. I'll go to meal plan day one, add it. And here I have all my nutrition information for the day. Awesome. Now, you can't really tell what I'm eating, of course. So I right click that and I'd hit the option explode recipe. Okay. Now here are all my items. I'll just move them down to the relevant category. Oops. And then on each of these, I can explode, explode, explode. And you get the idea. You can now see what you're supposed to be eating for the day. Awesome planning tool. I used it to great effect when I was following a strict ketogenic diet. It was very easy for me to log my food, very low effort. It made it a lot easier. So, so that, I kind of blew through that. Let me check the questions. So I'm just gonna make sure. Yeah, so we do not have a recipe importer yet. So the question is, are you able to import a recipe from a URL? And we don't support that yet. That is on our roadmap. I'm hoping that we get to it this year. I already answered that. Adding biometrics, done. So adding, yeah, Carol, you asked about adding recipes and custom foods. If I didn't answer the question, please, with what I demonstrated, please type it up again, and or with more specifics than I can. Can we change to get pounds and ounces instead of grams? So you can, but you would have to add that as a serving size. So over here, if I were to go, I'm just on any one of my recipes. So if I would have to, oh, okay, no. So you can't do it on a recipe, but you could technically do it on a food, a custom food, but you'd have to like do the conversions yourself. So there isn't an easy calculation on how to do that, because, and it's not easy for us to do either, because it, you know, depending on the ingredients or the food itself, it might have a different weight associated with it. So it's a little bit dicey on how to do that. But we have been looking into something like that on how to calculate ounces off of the grams and things like that. So no, at the moment you have to enter that in manually, but we're working on something like that. Okay, custom reports. I will get to custom reports. Aaron, I just answered the change pounds to ounces. I think if you're talking about the ingredients and the weights in the foods. Water. Valerie, I believe I answered your question about tracking carbs. If you actually eat more carbs than your target, it's just going to show that difference. I'll show the fasting option in a bit. Yep. So, Robert, with your devices, I would suggest that you contact support if you're getting duplicate entries, because most of the time that's a bug. And if you're going through multiple apps, it might just be, it's either, if we can deal with it, we will. Just let support know. And I wouldn't be able to troubleshoot that here. Okay, how do I only change my protein macro while keeping rigorous keto settings? Oh yeah, okay, so that's really easy. So Mark, let me show you that real quick. We go to settings, targets. So you go to custom. You know what so we can look at the rigorous to see what that is, right? So I can say custom, so we know it's 1, so just set that to 1. Okay, and if you wanted to change your protein macro while keeping the rigorous keto setting, I mean, you know, you can obviously change that around as you need to. So so yeah, that and you can obviously change this too, but obviously you can keep it at 20. Hope that answers your question. Let's see. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I message received. We'll figure out something on how to calculate ounces to from and pounds from grams. I appreciate the question. It's come up a number of times. I can't remember the word for it. It's an actual word. It's like econometrics, but not for food. Okay. So Martha, is there a way to wait for biometrics posted to all consecutive days, or do you have to enter them each day? I would recommend copying and pasting them from the previous day. It's not exactly what you want, but you can just grab a whole bunch of biometrics and move them forward and then modify the amounts each day. Okay. Answered how to track supplements. Sometimes when you add a new food, the servings do not sync. Can you show an example? So I'm not sure what you mean when you say the servings do not sync. If I would say contact support for that one, because that sounds more like a bug than anything else. It's for Carol. Okay, I answered the copy paste question. Oops. Did that one. So yeah, ethnic is, so we have a category called ethnic here, and we don't have it directly referenced in the search here. Where it does come up is when you're doing a deep dive on searching for food. So one of the places is in foods. If we go to Ask the Oracle, the Oracle is basically our name for our search algorithm. And what you can do is you can actually look for foods rich in certain nutrients if you're trying to complete your diet. You know, if you're maybe short on potassium in this example, and you can select categories to find the foods in. So ethnic, this is where the ethnic foods actually show up. So let's see what happens. So you can see, I'm not going to try to pronounce that. So, but you can see where the potassium is in our ethnic food category. And here's another relevant thing for you guys. This will be interesting. Now, let's say you guys are midway through your day. You don't have all your data filled out here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to jump back to this one. I'm going to go ahead and delete my lunch so I have a little more space to play with. We have a feature here called Suggest Foods. It's kind of small. You might have missed it, but it's a gold feature. And what you do is you click on it, and it's going to give you suggested foods that will fill out your macronutrient targets and your micronutrient targets. So it's going to find foods that are going to be like the best for your specific case. So in this case, let's see. So I have, let's see what I've got. Yeah, so I actually, oh, let me do this. I didn't actually delete my lunch here. Delete this, okay, that'll do. So we go back. So, and what you can do is you can exclude certain things. So if you're allergic to nuts, you can exclude that. If you don't want to look at your recipes, it'll exclude those as well. But as you can see, this is a recipe here. You can also, if you're a vegetarian or vegan, you can set those options here as well, and it'll filter out the foods. And I like to say this is like the Pandora of food suggestions. And so what'll happen is I can add this to my diary if I want. And just by clicking that, I can thumbs up this, so I'm going to get this recommendation again, or I can thumbs down and I won't see that recommendation again. And so if I just want to cycle through, I can just hit the X button. It'll just keep suggesting things until I get the or I find the food that I'm looking for. So this is a really handy planning tool. You know, maybe you may not have everything we suggest in the fridge the day of, but this is great to go out a day and say, what am I going to try to plan for the next week or something like that. This will give you the foods that will actually help fill out your diet in the most efficient ways. So great feature. It's a gold feature. But yeah. Okay. Let's see. Answer that. Meals. Oh yeah. So Kiwanis, I think I just showed you how to do that with Suggest Foods. Yes, you can copy your same breakfast. Oh yeah, sorry, editing things from previous days. So let's say I copied and pasted stuff in today. It's just a matter of clicking on the number and then typing in the new value. Very simple. And likewise on the mobile app, all you have to do is just tap the entry, and then you can re-enter whatever it is. So super easy. And likewise, and also on the mobile app, you can see the Suggest Food option right here. It's not highlighting when I tap it, but we will also gather you a whole bunch of suggestions to fill out your diet there. Let's see what else we got. So I'm gonna go through the rest of the question queue in a second. I just want to show you guys the Trends tab because this is great, and you can on the mobile app you can kind of swipe through these things. We don't show a big long list, but it's really handy. And we'll jump back there. So on the Trends tab, we're gonna show you. I'm going to give you an idea of what the data analysis tools we have available for you guys. And then I'm just going to run through all those questions. So we have, first is charts. And what we do here is we visualize your nutritional data over time. And if you're on a free account, you're going to get these first two charts, the calories consumed and the biometric chart. Those will be on your account. But if you're a gold user, you're going to get a whole bunch of other ones too. And I'll show you what those look like in just a second. But in general, you can choose any time frame here. I think the gold accounts get any time frame, and you might be restricted to a smaller time frame on free accounts. But you can look at any time frame, so you can get a sense of how your calories are changing. You'll notice here that I have a day that isn't so great. So we have some filters here that allow you to kind of filter out days that you may not want to be looking at. So if you have empty days, all days probably isn't the best thing to look at to get a sense of how things are going. So you can just focus on non-empty days. And occasionally you may have not actually logged very well on every single day. So if you want to filter out days that just have a little bit of junk in them, you can go to completed days. Now, completed days are a filter that we offer on the diary. So up here, we can mark this day as complete. And what that means is you notice that all the options here, I can't actually add anything anymore by clicking on it. And what that does is it lets the system know, it's just another way to filter, but it lets us know that this is a good day of eating. This is a day that you're proud of, or it's been tracked well. And so if you can basically mark a whole bunch of days completed, and then when you talk to, and you're reviewing your data by yourself or with a healthcare professional, you can actually filter on the completed days to get a really robust sample of data. Let's see, so on the biometric chart, here you can see any of these biometrics that we track. We'll show you over time. And you can even see the timestamp. This is what I was talking about before. You can see the timestamp of when it was logged. Now, we have a fasting feature, which I want to show you guys in a second. And one of the things that we do that's really cool is we can show you guys the fasting periods on the charts. So these darkened areas are the times that I had fasts going. And so, yeah, you can kind of get a sense of how either your biometrics or other data are changing within or around your fasting periods. This next chart is the nutrient chart. So what we have here, I'll just take off the fasting periods. So what we have here is the potassium over time. This is on a daily scale. And what you can see is when you're hitting, your totals are in the target range. That's what that green area is. For you keto guys out there, we have the glucose ketone index, which is similar to the Dr. Boz ratio, but I think it's a slightly different calculation. This will tell you whether or not you're in the therapeutic range for the glucose to ketone ratio. And down here, I've actually created a couple custom charts, which is another part of the gold feature of the gold charting feature. And you can actually see how data changes over time relative from one thing to another. So I can show you how to do that real quick. If we go to Manage Charts, you can see the ones that we support in our own library. And then down here, you can see the custom charts. To create a custom chart, it's just a matter of clicking Add. You can select a biometric or a nutrient. You can add another axis to compare to. So I can let's do weight and cholesterol. You can see how that, let's see what that looks like. Go to back to charts. Scroll down to the bottom. Here is weight versus cholesterol over time. So you can get a sense of what that looks like. And yeah, it's a very powerful tool for kind of gaining insight as to how things are changing over time and how one thing might be correlating or affecting one another. So that's our charting feature. If we go to nutrition report, what this does is going to give you a very similar view to what you see on the diary. And the diary shows you all your micronutrient averages for the day over the foods you ate. What the nutrition report does, it will show you those nutritional averages over a longer period of time. So for the last 2 weeks, I can see whether or not I'm hitting my targets. And you can see trouble spots right away when you see those yellow bars. I'm not getting enough maybe of calcium or phosphorus over a long period of time. And I can extend that out to see if I am maybe long-term deficient. And so you can get a sense of what that looks like then. Very handy tool. You can also filter out supplements, any food that's tagged as a supplement. You can, just to make sure you're getting most of your nutrients from whole foods, if that's something you want to look at. Now, someone asked about printing reports. So this is our print report feature or report builder. And so what it is, it's a gold feature. And what you can do here is you can actually create PDFs that you can print out or send to someone like a doctor or other healthcare professional. And you can choose what kind of data actually gets shown on these reports. And so you're seeing, I think I just have everything checked and I've created a bunch of different charts on here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and print report. And that's gonna open up a new tab with the PDF. And you can see here, I'm getting all my data over the last, I guess it was 7 days. And then I can see my daily diary and the daily averages for each day, and then obviously the longer averages are up here. And so you can print this stuff out, you can share it with whoever you want, send it to them via PDF, really easy. Then another gold feature that we have is snapshots. You can upload pictures. You can upload pictures here. Maybe it's progress photos, maybe it's pictures of your food. You can do whatever you like with that. And also, that's another thing. We also have an add note feature. I'm just going to complete this day. On add notes, if you're a gold user, you can add photos to your notes. So you can actually add photos of your food or progress photos here as well. So let's see, and just a couple little other things that I want to make sure I show you guys before we've already run out of time, but I'll try to get to all your questions now. If you have a device, go to Settings, Devices, and we have a number of different devices that we connect with. We have, this is our BioSense is our new ketone breath monitor that we integrate with. They're great. Let's see, and the other thing that I want to show you guys. So like I said, we have a professional version. So if you guys want to work with a professional who uses Cronometer and is familiar with Cronometer, we have a professional directory that you can go to, and you can actually search based on location. So if you want someone who's, you want to go see physically, or maybe you want to work remote, whatever, you can look through the directory here. You can look at different specialties that they may work with, and find a pro here. All these guys use Cronometer Pro. Highly recommended. Yeah, so jump back to over here. So I want to, okay, so now I'm going to try to burn through the questions. Let's see, I'll scroll to the top here. Custom reports. Kiwanis, I hope I answered that question. Oh, the fasting option, yes. Okay, so fasting, you go to settings, fasting. And what you can do here is you get to see your current fast, if you have any scheduled upcoming fasts, and your fasting history will show up down here as well. You saw I had quite a bit on the charts. So long history there. To schedule a new fast, you just click here, you name the fast, you set a duration, and you set how often you want it to repeat. So it could be daily, it could be every week, every 2 weeks, depending on the protocol you want to follow. And then you can set your start date, end date, and that'll also affect the duration too. So you have 2 ways to set it up, and you just add that and show up on your schedule. Now, the other thing that happens when this is enabled, you just got to enable it here. This is a gold feature, by the way, in case you were wondering. You also will have a fasting widget that will show up here. And let's see. You can actually see your current fasts on the mobile app by swiping back and forth to see it on the widgets up there. You can always edit it here. You can just stop it as well. And it's available on the mobile app too. I think there's just a fasting setting here. You can do the same thing. Yep, there's a fasting setting. There. Cool. All right, so that's one. So like I said, we don't automatically calculate the Dr. Boz ratio that is manually entered. Meal specifications, yep, those are gold features. Answered the ethnic food question. Ingredients, spices with barcodes that are not recognized by the app. Okay, so for spices and things like that, I would say first try to find it in our database by typing the name. If it's not there, then I would say contact support, or take a picture of it and ask us to try to find a good version of it, and we could try to help you out there. That was from Anonymous. Yep, already answered that one. How do you see your friend's recipe once you've approved the friend? Very good question. So if we go to settings, sharing, this is where you would add the friend. So when you add a friend, you just type in their email, and it has to be the email of the Cronometer account that they have. So if they don't have a Cronometer account, this won't work. But you will see an invite pop up when you, so if you send that invite, that person will see an invite when they log in next. They can accept it then. And in order to see their custom foods, they're just going to show up in your custom tab here. They won't be delineated that they're from someone else, though we're working to fix that with a new feature and a bit more robust customization options, but you'll just get them all right here. Can you show, I answered that one. Yes, I do move very quickly and I apologize for that. So there, the replays will be on YouTube. Yes, mobile devices. And so if you log on, the same account will be the same on whether it's logged on mobile or on the web. So right now what you're seeing here is, excuse me, the same account on web and mobile. So you'll notice I deleted my lunch in this on this day. Let's see, it should have deleted it on this. Yes, and I have. So you can see that any change you make on the web app will show up in the mobile app and vice versa. After building a recipe, the add, oh yeah, it's not showing up in the search. That's interesting. As you can see, so I created a cookie recipe, I think. It showed up fine for me. So I'm guessing it might be a bug. If you contact support, we can hopefully help you out with that. I can't necessarily troubleshoot that right now, so I can't reproduce it. Does mobile app document my steps from my iPhone? I think the answer is yes to that, Patricia. How do you make foods favorite? That is just a matter of highlighting it, and you can do this with anyone. You tap or you click the star, and on the mobile app, tap this, and the star is up here by the name. Cool. Let's see. Is there an easy way to add supplements for each day? So, like, you can use the trick that I showed you before with regard to grouping supplements into a recipe. So if you have the same 5 supplements that you take every day, just group them into a recipe, and then you have to add one thing every day. Very easy. Grams to ounces, especially for water. Yeah, we hear you. We're going to work on that. Please add cups, tablespoons, pounds, and recipe. Right. Again, we're going to work on getting those alternate measurements in there. I'm sorry you can't keep Marcel. I know I'm going very fast. I have an hour. We're over. I want to try to answer all your questions though, so I'm going to get through this as quickly as I can. There is a replay though, so you will be able to find anything that you're looking for on our YouTube channel. Yes, very good. So okay, so we have the most accurate database in the world, but we're not perfect. So how would you actually, if you found an error with one of our food items, how would you tell us about it, right? So we actually have that built in. So one of the things you can do, if I click on this, actually I can do it, show you on both. So I have an item selected here on mobile. I'll tap that 3-dot menu. You see the report an issue option here. Here you would report an issue. We ask you to take a picture of the item, or if that's relevant, you can take a picture of the item and the nutrition information, and you could show us what's wrong or point it out or whatever. Likewise, on the web app, you click on this 76 listed nutrients link. That's going to take you to the food details page, and you can see all the information for it. But again, 3-dot menu, report issue. And you can, again, upload a photo, describe the issue, and we'll respond to that. Cool. Great question, Quantus. When adding a recipe, are you required to weigh out? Well, so it helps to know how much. I mean, recipes usually call for a specific amount of an item. So I would say generally that's how you would do it, yeah. If you want accurate data, for sure. How do I see a friend's recipe? I think I answered that question just a bit ago. You want to send them a friend request and accept it, and have them accept it. Answer the favorite question. If the recipe has 2 pounds of ground beef and is 8 servings, how do I list it? Well, I'll show you right now. That'll be not too bad. Custom recipe. So Ingredients, let's say bacon, let's go with ounces. Let's say it has 10 ounces of bacon in it. And so this is the total recipe. The ingredients reflect the total recipe, right? Not the individual serving size. So if this 10 ounces of bacon makes, let's say, 40 chips, you then, let's say one serving is 5 chips and the total recipe makes 40 chips. So what is that, 8 servings? So you have, that's how we generally would divide it up. So let's see, so yogurt, 2 pounds of ground beef and is 8 servings. So what would happen there, okay, let's do that. So I don't have pounds of bacon, unfortunately. I do not. Well, let's actually do that exact. Do we have pounds? We do not. Oh no, here's a third of a pound. Half a pound. Half a pound, what's that? 2 pounds, so 4. So we have 4 pounds of ground turkey, serves 8, so we could say 1 patty. So there you go. So now what will happen is it'll divide this total amount by 8 because 1 serving, 1 patty, is comes from this total amount here. So that's how you would work that out. Oh yeah, so if you we have a serving size of 4 to 8 ounces. All right, I'll show you how to log that. So add food, was it yogurt? Plain whole milk, we have a serving size of ounces. So if you don't have, if it's only, so imagine that said 4 ounces, you need to log 3. So there's not a clear conversion. What you can do is actually put in fractions. We take fractions in our input. So you could log 0.75 of 4 ounces, which would be 3 ounces. So there's a little math involved, but you can make that work based on the serving sizes that we have. What about making a biomarker from 2 other, oh yeah, so that's gonna be a feature request, Jack, and I think it's a great feature request. So I will add it to the queue. Yeah, so searching for keto foods only. So I don't believe we have, do we have a tag? Let's see. We don't have a specific keto tag, but between, so yeah, we don't have a specific keto tag only. So if you wanted to basically limit yourself to ketogenic friendly foods, one of the things you could do is, sorry, one second, my daughter's beeping the horn there. Anyway, yeah, so one of the things you could do is if you have your diet or your macronutrient settings set to keto, the keto calculator, and you use the suggest foods feature, it's going to look at your fat requirement and see how much you need, and it's going to recommend foods that fit in the ketogenic diet. So you're going to get a good set of recommendations from there. If you're just searching blindly, like, you know, there's usually a good food list and things like that you can follow if you're looking for ketogenic specific foods. Yes. Patricia, I think I already answered this, but it does document your steps from your iPhone. I'm not totally clear on what that question means. So if you can retype it with a little more detail, I'd be happy to answer it. You need to tell us what the question is, please. Yeah, I apologize. I'm trying to get through as many as I can, and I will try to be more articulate. Yep. Jack, I hear you loud and clear on that feature request. Thanks. If you put it into the survey at the end, I would appreciate it. Suggested food on a phone, I think I showed you guys. It's just right here, plus button on the top left. You can see suggest food. Yeah, so I showed this briefly, Cindy. How can I find vegetables with the least amount of carbs? So you can go to foods, ask the Oracle, and what you can do is you can go to um, net carbs, and you can search for foods that are high. Actually, this will give you the foods that are high in net carbs. You're actually looking for negative or the foods that are lowest in carbs. Don't believe we actually rank that way. Let's see what happens. No, actually, no. So there isn't a great way to search for those types of foods specifically. But there are a whole bunch of other levers you could pull in order to get a list of suggestions from our app. Most of the time, like I said, there are great food lists out there that will tell you what's good for keto. And you can always verify those in the app too. Fasting is also on the phone app. I think I showed you that earlier, so I'll just leave that one for now. Can I enter a range of time? Yeah, so we only allow you to add one timestamp in terms of, you know, when you, so if you're, I usually do finish, honestly. That's when I would say that's when I would recommend to do it. But if you're sipping on it all day, it's tough for me to say because you're getting nutrition kind of, you know, you're getting the energy, the micronutrients from that pretty steady. So I don't know. There's no good answer to that one. Sorry, Brian. I don't see suggested foods on my phone. Yeah, so if you can see, it's right up on here. I'll just move my mouse over. If you hit the plus button, suggest foods right here. Yes, we will post a replay. Don't worry. So what you can do with, so the question is, do you have to tell it to start the fasting period and end and start date and ending date basically? That's probably the most precise way to do it. But if you want to start a fast on the fly, it'll use the current time when you hit that button to create a new one, and then you can just set the duration. So there's kind of a quick and easy way versus a more precise way. So you don't necessarily have to do it. It's more about what you want to do. It's like we lost the iPhone again. I'll bring it back up if I have to go on there to answer a question. How are you all determining what is too much fat? Quantis, I don't think I can answer that question. That is diving into a little too close to nutrition advice. Yes, there will be recording. You cannot add snapshots to a phone from the phone app. That's the question. But you can add photos to notes in the phone. So that snapshot feature that I showed you guys earlier, that's not available specifically on the mobile app, but you can do that on the phone or the mobile app. And let me just show you guys real quick. Let's reconnect my phone here. There we go. So if you add a note and you're a gold user, you'll see that little photo icon right here. You tap that and that'll give you the option to add a phone, take a photo, or add a photo from your photo library on your phone. Okay. I believe I answered the share recipe question. It's great for a husband and wife to get on the same page. You can't add photos to recipes right now. That is something that we're working on. I don't know if we'll have time to do a written summary, but we will certainly have a replay up and available for you on our YouTube channel. 406. Deborah, is the 406 a device? If it may not be one that we support at the moment. But send that request to support. We always like to keep track of what devices people are using so we can get them integrated. Yes, so we have a list of our gold features. If you go to cronometer.com/gold, and in fact, I'll show you guys how to access that. So if you're actually logged into your account, say on the web, you just go up here and you're gonna see that I have So if you're not subscribed to Gold, it'll show you a little blurb about Gold here. You can click on that. It'll take you to a page where there's a lot more information. Can I keep this private always? Do we share records? Yeah, so I said in the beginning, so Brian asked if about privacy settings and if we keep data private, I assume that's the question. Yeah, we always do that. We never share records with any third parties. The only case that data can be accessed is when you agree to it. There are several studies in the sharing session that you can choose to make your data available to. And if you work with a pro who's using Cronometer, you can give them access to your account as well so they can see how you're doing, things like that. But other than that, nobody has access. No third parties have access to your data. Search keto foods. We have, like I said, we have a Shyamala. We don't have a specific feature for searching for keto foods. There are tons of food lists available out there on the web, so that we don't necessarily have a keto food specific, but it is a tag that we're thinking of adding, and if it'll make your life easier, I'll certainly get it on the list. So that one. There is a written manual for Gold features. Yes, I just described where you can access it. So when you're sharing recipes with another user, I think Kim is asking, it's not totally clear if you're sharing all your data. You always share all your custom recipes when you share when you accept a friend request from a user. So you guys will always see everything that you guys have. You're not going to see any of your personal nutrition data that you log day to day, but you'll get all the food information for the recipes, that is. It's the only thing, Kim, the only thing being shared with your friends is your custom recipes. No personal data whatsoever. Tammy, we haven't had a strong reason to localize in other languages yet, but never say never. Yes, yeah, she's leaving, so there will be a replay. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Wonderful. You're welcome. Oh, that's Kiwanis. Very good. We have an online forums. We have tons of people who are very familiar with the app who answer questions for you guys out of the goodness of their hearts. So we have forums. That's if you ever are excuse me, on the mobile app or on the web app, just go to help and you can see a whole bunch of things here. These are all really good resources. The videos on our YouTube channel, the Cronometer University videos, are a little bit dated. We've done tons of updates to the app, which is why I'm doing the webinar, so I can keep up with all that stuff. But yeah, that's where I would recommend to go. Our forums, which is what Kiwanis was mentioning, they are full of very helpful people. 4.6, yeah. So we don't integrate with 4.6 at the moment, but I think we're planning a Keto Mojo integration pretty soon. But 4.6 is on the list too. Yep, Kim, I believe I answered that question. All right, that's everything. Wow. Okay, I'm a little over on time. I got to work on that, guys. Thank you so much. I apologize if I didn't get to your question in the chat. That's just not something I could get to at this stage. So thank you guys so much. I'm going to end the webinar here, and you guys are great. Thank you for sticking with me. Take care.